What's happening, YouTube? Back in the day gamer here. Thank you very much for tuning into my channel, and today I'm coming at you with Pickup of the Month, Episode 2. This features a game I picked up back in November. It's by far the highlight of the lot I got that month, and I was at one of my local spots, saw it on the shelf. It's kind of a pricey game, it goes for about 40 bucks. They had it marked for $4.99, so I took it right up to the counter. The guy was like, "Oh, we just put this one out. The guy just brought it in. It's in mint condition." You know, back in the day, no one I knew had this game. I never actually even played it. I always want it, but I never see it anywhere. So for $4.99, I scooped it up. Fantastic cover art. Game itself is just as good. It's kind of easy, but it's a lot of fun. And that game is none other than Monster in My Pocket for the NES. Alright, YouTube, here we go. Monster in My Pocket is a 1991 Konami action platformer. I really like the concept of this whole game. Not only was it a line of toys, but they also had a ton of other things like trading cards, comic books, there was a board game, there was a cartoon that ran for one whole episode. Now every entire game is based on the toys, which I think is cool. There's lots of neat little nuances, like this guy right here, his eyes move around. You press start, you then get to select between one or two player co-op action, which is always awesome. The icon you use to select is a skull and crossbones. It's a neat little twist as well. You then are given two characters to choose from, the vampire or the monster. Not Frankenstein, that's the doctor that created the monster. I also think it's really cool that when you flip between them, not only does the green on that monster super pop, but their eyes blink, and that's cool as well. I always select the vampire for one reason and one reason only. There is no difference between them except the sprite graphics. They play exactly the same, but the vampire has a cape, and capes are cool. So the storyline is the weakest part of this whole easy game. You start off, you and your monster buddy are watching your favorite program on your Konami television when you're interrupted by your arch nemesis, the Warlock, who looks more like Guile or a G.I. Joe. He just stopped in to tell you that he sent his henchmen out to get you. Not only are the graphics great on this game, with the sprites not terribly detailed, but the background's always got some cool stuff going on. You know, Monsters in My Pocket were tiny toys, and, you know, in the 80s, boomboxes were huge, but they weren't that big. A lot of times you stumble upon this key, which is really the only projectile weapon that you will come across in the game. You know, the controls are as tight as can be. They're awesome. You get a double jump. You can change directions in midair. You can attack both left and the right. So you don't need this stupid key. It doesn't unlock anything. And most times you end up losing more energy trying to chase down the key and pick it up than you would without it. So just leave it. After just a short while, you make your way to the boss battle at the end of the first level. He's obviously the first boss, so he's the easiest, but he's extra easy. Stage 2, Big Trouble in the Kitchen. I really like the background on this stage as well. Now, if you notice, the point system here got 495 points. 500 points get you an extra guy. I really like how they keep it old school with a low scoring point system. You mosey on over to the stove where somebody left the burner going. Flame jumps up a little bit there, as if it really mattered, because you're double jumping over it anyways, so it's not going to hit you. This game is plagued by a lot of screen flicker when there's multiple enemies on the screen, but it's not that big of a deal because it doesn't affect gameplay, which is pretty simple. Made our way to the second boss battle here, where you're inside the freezer. Got carrots and peas, old tub of ice cream, Neapolitan's probably only got chocolate left. This guy's cool. He's just like all the bosses in this game. They have a very simple pattern to get down. I like his the best, probably because it's the most fast pace, and if you get it just right, you can get a swipe on him when he's on his way away from you. But easy as can be, down he goes. Stage 3, Crisis from the Underground. So here's where the game starts to get a little bit more difficult, only because you've got enemies coming from both directions, and those enemies take 2 hits instead of 1. So it's a little more challenging, but not much. Now, not only are the graphics and controls really good on this game, but the sound is great as well.
The soundtrack and the sound effects are really good. I'm digging them. You know, this is an old game, and I think it did real good for what it had to work with. Now this part is a great example of how good the controls are. So you're on a moving platform where if you get hit, you get knocked back and instantly die because you can't swim. But you got enemies coming from both directions. You can jump off the moving platform in the air and swing both left and right at the same time to kill them. And before I got that down, this part was rather tough because, you know, one hit knocks you back and you're dead. After that, you make your way to the boss at the end of the third stage, which is a Kraken. Stage 4, Towering Catastrophe. 2,500 points is your next free guy. You get your first one at 500, and then it's 2,000 points every guy after that. But you really can only get a total of like 4 free guys because since the game does have low scoring, usually max out around 6,500 points. You get 3 continues, but you're not going to need them. The game itself is very simple, as I said before, and as I'm sure you're aware of. Once you get the hang of it, it's easily completed without using any continues at all. Then you make your way to the end boss, which is the Gremlin. It's on this crane hook. He's probably the most difficult. Yeah, he's definitely the most difficult of all the enemies. His pattern is a little more erratic. You got to look out for, you know, those projectiles that he throws at you, which you cannot destroy. And down he goes. I was almost handed my first death there. Got 5 guys down to 1 health bar. But fortunately, when you beat a boss and you go to the next stage, life bar fills back up. So now this makes no sense to me at all. We were at our house, we were in the kitchen, we were in the sewer, we climbed up a tower. Now it's an Oriental board. How that plays in, I don't know. Oh, there you go. Handed my first death. But another thing that makes this game extremely simple is that when you die, you don't go back to the beginning of the level. You respawn right where you fell. And that is probably the major flaw of this game. Obviously, you want it to be simple because, you know, it's kind of targeted towards little kids. But it is easier than it should be. If it were a little more difficult, the replay value would be a lot better. I think now you're fighting some kind of banshee at the end of this board. I'm not sure exactly what the pattern is, but each time, you know, there's 4 doppelgangers and 1 actual. That's the only one you can hit and hurt. Boom! Down she goes. Stage 6, last battle at Monster Mountain. So when doing my homework for this, I went online and researched some of the toys, and Monster in My Pocket have some cool figures. I almost picked some up, but I know I got some up in the parents' attic, so I'll dig them out one day. So now we're coming upon the end of the final board, and it is basically a boss rush. I love how your cape blows in the wind. Did I mention I like capes? So, after the boss rush, you finally make your way to Warlock, who doesn't look anything like he did when he showed his face on the TV. He also has a very simple pattern. You do have to watch out for his electricity projectile, though. So, after quite a lengthy battle, you vanquish your foe. Your arch nemesis, the Warlock, has been defeated. You defeated your arch rival, the sinister Warlock. Peaceful days will now return to vampires and monsters. There's a hell of a quote. And here we are, back to where we started, peacefully watching our favorite program on our Konami brand television. But wait, what's this? So despite saying he's going to destroy you and he's much stronger this time around, it's quite the opposite. He's far easier, he doesn't move at all, and he takes less hits. So there you go. Once you finally defeat him, he makes a crying baby face. And you pop your butt down back in front of that TV because you sure hope that was the final battle. Is it? Is there anything else? I guess not. There it is. Monster in My Pocket, trademark. And here come the credits. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Pickup of the Month featuring Monster in My Pocket. I definitely give this game a thumbs up. Yes, it's easy. You know, sometimes you want an easy game. It's a quick 30-minute playthrough. I only died 3 times maybe. I used no continues. I have gotten a lot of practice on this game. When I first played it, I couldn't even beat it with the continues, but it didn't take very long to catch on. So, you know, the 3 things I rate a game on are basically graphics, controls, and sound. Sound being the least important of those, but it does have good sound. It had very good graphics and excellent controls. So Back in the Day Gamer is giving Monster in My Pocket 2 thumbs up. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Pickup of the Month. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I sure did. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, YouTube, keep it retro!